Hi everyone, my name is Paul Vincent. I am the CEO of Minica Properties. Since the beginning of my career, I have observed that there are usually two questions that usually comes to the mind of my prospect or anyone that wants to acquire a land from me in general. The first question they usually ask is, does the land have a certificate of occupancy, or hope my property will not be demolished from me later in the future? That is why today I would love to educate you on all the land titles in Nigeria. Firstly, you have to note that a land can either be free or under government acquisition. There are basically two types of acquisition in Nigeria. We have the committed acquisition and then we have the global acquisition. A land is said to be free if the government has not registered any form of interest on that land right from the inception. When you acquire a land that is free from every known government encumbrances, it is very easier for you to obtain a certificate of occupancy on that land. On the other hand, the land is said to be under committed acquisition if the government has registered interest on that land, either for roads, drainages, canals, schools, hospitals, defense purposes, airports, and so on and so forth. When you buy a land that is under committed acquisition, it is just like you buying an ultimate headache that no Panadol can cure. Firstly, you will not be able to perfect your land titles. You cannot obtain a building plan, and any property you develop on the land that is under committed acquisition will certainly be demolished without any compensation from the government. On the other hand, the land is said to be under global acquisition if the land has been bought in the past by the government, but in date, they have no plan for that land. Such lands under global acquisition could later be free through a process called Excision. I know you have heard this, so the next question you might want to ask me if you're here with me is, are lands that have their excision in process safe to buy? Well, it is a 50-50 thing. You only increase your 50% if you acquire that land from a reputable real estate companies that has so many estates to their name. The reason being that lands under global acquisition, government still has the right to release that land or not. So when you buy this land from a reputable real estate company that has so many estates to their name, if the government decide not to release that land to you people in the future, they will take you down to another estate and allocate you down there. But there is a chance that the estate that they're going to relocate you to might be more expensive, so you would have to pay more in the future. So that is why I would advise you to stay away from lands that have their excision in process. But if you insist that you want to acquire a land that is still having their excision in process, make sure you do buy the one that has a file number. A file number could either be KLM/123/ the local government. The reason is an excision file number means that the government has registered the application and the process to get this land exercised is underway. Excision, the simple meaning of excision is the government releasing a large or a parcel of land that has been under global acquisition in the past. So when the government release this land to the individuals, it now becomes an excision. And the title on this property could later be gazetted. It could later turn to a gazetted land. A second case whereby land under global acquisition could later be released is called ratification. Ratification. This is a process whereby you go to the state government and pay for your land to be regularized. The only thing is just that it is you buying the land all over again. And the only condition is that the land does not fall under committed acquisition. A gazette is an official book of the government that shows every details and transaction that the government have done over the years. It is spelled out there, detailed and kept. So a gazetted land would show you all the villages and communities that have been granted excision in acres, in hectares. A gazetted land would show you all this under this global acquisition. Now, the only way to know if a land has been exercised or gazetted is for you to take a surveyor down to the site to chart the site and then take it to the office of the Surveyor General's office to confirm if any of these titles are on that land or if the land is under committed acquisition. Now, as a reputable realtor, I offer my clients properties that I have done searches on already, and I am very, very sure and comfortable that when you acquire these properties, you are buying peace of mind. Now, the third title we are going to be discussing is the certificate of occupancy, which I know it is very common. This is what everybody knows, certificate of occupancy. A certificate of occupancy shows that the government has released this land, because all lands belongs to the government. It is a title that shows that the government has given you the right to own this property for 99 years, after which the land or you would go again and pay. You have to pay again for it according to 1978 land constitution. So these are your three. And then we have the fourth one, we have the governor's consent. A governor's consent I've been trying to define, but basically, let me give you in details what a governor's consent means. So let's say Dr. Alima bought this property first, and then Honorable Abubakar wants to buy this property from Dr. Alima, and this property already has a C of O. Now, what you should know that a C of O, the government does not give a C of O twice. So when you buy a property that has a certificate of occupancy, the next title you can get on your property is a governor's consent. I don't know if you understand me very well. So let's say Dr. Alima is the first owner on this property. She has a certificate of occupancy. If Honorable Abubakar comes to acquire this land from Dr. Alima, Honorable Abubakar cannot get a certificate of occupancy again on this land. What Honorable Abubakar can get on this land is a governor's consent. And if Mr. Ebuka decides to buy this land also from Honorable Abubakar, what Mr. Ebuka can get on this land is a governor's consent. So a governor's consent simply means transfer of ownership. It means the governor has transferred, as authorized, or as beared witness that Dr. Alima has sold this property to Honorable Abubakar, and if Honorable Abubakar decides to sell to Mr. Ebuka, the government will also have to bear witness that, okay, Mr. Abubakar is buying this property from Honorable Abubakar, so thereby the property now becomes a governor's consent. Now I'm giving you this as a bonus. I usually don't see it often, but I have come across it once or twice. If you deal on lands law, you might have seen this property, this title as well. It is called the Supreme Court judgment. This title usually or barely comes by. The only way you can get a Supreme Court judgment on a title as a title on your property is, for example, Barrister Lima and Honorable Abubakar are in power tussles for this particular property, this Supreme Court judgment. So let's say Honorable Abubakar wins the case in the apex court or the normal court, and then Barrister Lima decides to appeal this case, and then from there the case goes to the Supreme Court judgment. Whosoever wins this case on the Supreme Court judgment, of course, you know the Supreme Court is the highest court in Nigeria. So whosoever wins this case among these two fighters gets the Supreme Court judgment as a title. However, I do know that if Honorable Abubakar wins this case in court, the case has just, I think, 50 days to be appealed. If the case is not appealed under 50 days, it means that property automatically now belongs to Honorable or Barrister Alima. I hope you understand all this. So now I hope you understand all the land titles in Nigeria very well. We have the Excision. Don't forget, without the Excision, your land cannot be gazetted. And if the land has not been exercised or gazetted, you cannot get a certificate of occupancy. And if you don't have a certificate of occupancy, you cannot get a governor's consent. You have to get this one. They usually come once after the other. Excision, gazette, certificate of occupancy, governor's consent, and in very few cases, Supreme Court judgment. So now I would love to take you through all the document you will be needing whenever you acquire a land, either from the Omoniles or the real estate companies. The first thing you should ask for is your purchase receipt. I mean, even when you're buying a car or any other thing, I believe you usually get your purchase receipt. It shows that it is a legal document that shows that, oh, money has been paid for either a product or services. And then you have your contract of sales. A contract of sale is the legal document that shows what the agreement, whatever you and the company has agreed in terms of price, your balance, when your balance will be due, what the estate will be providing you, and what you will be paying in future, either for development levy or any other payment you will be making, should be on your contract of sale. So you are fully aware of what you're getting, what you're paying for. And then your deed of assignment. This is the most important legal document during a landed transaction. Your deed of assignment. So many people miss this. They say, Omonile have duped me, Omonile has done this, Omonile has done that. Did you ask for a deed of assignment? Of course, most people don't even ask for their deed of assignment. They usually ask for family papers and receipts. A deed of assignment is this legal document that shows that Mr. A, Mr. Ali has bought this land from Dr. Simbi. That a deed of assignment will be showing you the agreement and everything that you paid for in that land. So if you bought a land and you don't have a deed of assignment, call your lawyer immediately. Call a lawyer to draft one for you, especially when you bought that land from a community or the family. Another thing you will be getting during the course of a landed transaction is the survey plan. Your survey plan is the most important document during a landed transaction. It shows you if the land is under exercise. It shows you if it is gazetted. It shows you if it has a certificate of occupancy. And it shows you if the land that you're buying is still under government acquisition. You might go back and watch the video I did some time back so that you can see or you can know everything you need to know about survey plan, the 10 basic things that make a survey plan authentic. I did it in my previous video, so you can go back there and watch it again and understand how important the survey plan is during the course of a landed transaction. And this, well, is not usually during the course of a landed transaction. You must have gotten all this correctly and make sure your land is not under government acquisition before you can get a building plan. The building plan is usually being obtained from the state government. I hope you understand everything it takes to buy a genuine land in Nigeria, and you're now conversant with the land titles in Nigeria. My name is Paul Vincent once more. I'm the MD/CDO of Minica Properties. Feel free to contact me anytime you want to acquire your land in Nigeria. Thank you.